What's up everyone and welcome to another Warframe video as part of Archwing Week. Today's topic is going to be a fan favourite weapon, and that is the Fluctus. Fluctus is easily one of the best looking Archwing weapons. Massive giant weapon with these huge vertical prongs that slam together to fire out a wave of energy. You know, those huge vertical prongs that fire out a horizontal wave because space magic, I guess? Well, you can get it from the Tenno lab in the dojo, and it comes with the third highest base damage, and that's mostly in slash as well, which is really nice against fleshy stuff. Also has a very good crit chance and crit damage multiplier, and pretty average status, to be honest. On the ground, it gets a little bit more base damage, it gets higher crit, and a little bit more status. Both of which are really nice. But also in Archwing mode and in the ground mode, the projectile has insane punch throughs, so no real need to mod for it there. So that really nicely leads me on to how we're actually going to mod the Fluctus. We're going to head in, and it's going to be very similar to the build that we use on the Imperative Handle, except for one major change. Rebuild line barrel for damage. We've got dual rounds for multi-shot, hollowed rounds, and parallax scope for crit chance and crit damage. Critical focus when we're aiming down the sight means we get extra crit chance and extra crit damage. And then we're actually going to use 3 of the 90% damage mods here. Combustion rounds, electrified barrel for radiation, and cold for the extra damage from the cold damage. As you can see, we are not using automatic trigger. For me, the Fluctus doesn't really need it. It can spam out these things, but honestly, I don't really think it actually needs the extra fire rate, so it is something you can drop to get extra damage on this, and personally, that's how I like it. If you want to, though, you could switch out the polar magazine back for automatic trigger, like if you actually feel you want the extra fire rate. But, like I say, I personally don't feel it's really needed. The second build is, so this one's basically for Archwing. Archwing enemies, this is for against the Orb, and this is for against the Eidolon, for example. Second build is against normal enemies. And as you can see, we're not using the Sabo rounds here because it's not really needed. The extra damage isn't worth it over a 90% damage mod, and we have a ton of punch through anyway. However, as you can see on the second build, bam, it's back. So this is going to be what we're going to be doing on this one, which is going to be for our normal ground enemies. And yes, the viral slash combo has returned. So let's just head back out and then in again, so we can actually have updated stats. Roboto line barrel for damage. We've got dual shots for multi-shot. Dual round, for multi-shot. Critical focus for that crit chance and crit damage. Hollowed bullets for crit damage. Parallax scope crit chance. Sabo rounds for the extra damage. And the punch through is kind of irrelevant at this point, because the damage is for use with the slash procs, because slash procs are affected by base damage mods. So Sabo rounds is really useful here. And then we've got 2 dual stats, Hypothermic Shell and Contamination Casing. And this is going to give us our viral damage. Now, I've done quite a bit of testing with this, and this actually kills armored enemies just as quickly as corrosive, and more quickly on non-armored enemies. So your Corpus and things like that, this actually kills them so much quicker than a corrosive-based Fluctus does. So just to show that off, we're not going to use particularly high end level enemies because honestly the Fluctus isn't that good against against ground enemies. However, as you can see, procs everywhere. You can see the viral proc and the one I'm sort of mousing over. You can see we've got one down already, we've got a couple down already. These are only level 100s because honestly this doesn't really kill particularly fast, but the advantage of this is not just as the fact that you're actually killing fairly quickly. It's not amazing, but honestly, what you're actually doing though is you're spreading a whole bunch of procs around for your teammates. If you've got a teammate that's using condition overload melee, for example, look at all the procs you're actually spreading around. I mean, that guy's got what, 4 different procs on him right now? So, someone with a condition overload melee is just going to have a field day with this. And even so, it's killing pretty quickly, even though, this is 20 level 100 heavy gunners. There's 20 of them here. So, as you can see, we're taking them all down pretty quickly. But we are going to run out of ammo. This is one of the downsides of this thing. It doesn't have very much ammo. But there you go. Look how quickly that guy shredded. Like, he had mostly full health when he started. Here comes another one. We're out of ammo now. But, as you can see, it's going to die. Oh, the viral just ran out just too quickly there. So, it is very, very effective against, like, the armored units. It's just as effective as using corrosive on a status build. And even, like, raw damage corrosive. But it also is brilliant against non-armored units. So let's just bring out, like, 20 techs just to show you with that. Where are they? Let's search here. Let's use this handy search bar. 20 techs. Simulate. Oh yeah, we've got a... Hang on a minute. If we... I can't remember exactly at what point it actually resets. Let's just go into it there. Hopefully it's reset now. Yeah, there we go. So the text haven't moved yet. So here we go. As you can see, they melt. Absolutely melt. And this is a lot quicker than if you use corrosive as well. So, because the bleed procs are so nice. We're going straight through shields, we're ignoring them completely, and we're absolutely shredding. And it's the same with all like unarmored units. It just absolutely demolishes them. There we go. You can see the punch through kicking in there as well. Absolutely brilliant against non-armored units. But it does struggle a lot against armored units, which the Imperative Vandal doesn't. So there we go. Pretty effective. But it's that case where the viral and slash combo is definitely the best one to be using for this one. And so that brings me on to what I think of the Fluctus. Do I think it's worth the build cost? Do I think it's worth the former invested into it? And the answer is yes and no. Honestly, in terms of Archwing and against normal enemies, it's actually not bad at all. In terms of, well, actually Archwing is fantastic. That huge punch through and really big damage means it's actually very, very good. And the wide arc of the beam means it takes out so many enemies at once. It is absolutely brilliant. You could see in the first, like right at the start of the video, like the footage I was using, I was just shooting through the wall and taking out groups at once. Absolutely brilliant as an Archwing weapon. On the ground, it's actually not bad. I don't think it's as good as the Imperative Vandal in terms of, like, standard enemies. I'm not even talking about the orb fight. I'm going to talk about that separately in a second. I'm talking about just using it as normal, like, against normal enemies. And this thing can destroy waves of enemies very, very easily. So, example, if you're using it in a defense mission, if you're using it in interception, where enemies come in waves, this thing can just, you know, fire one with these blades through them, wipe out the whole lot. It can be very, very effective. It doesn't have the most ammo in the world, which means it does limit its use a little bit, because, you know, you're going to run out of ammo very, very quickly. But it does do a really, really good job of killing just those waves of enemies, especially if you're starting to use, like, Mirage's damage buffs, Chroma, Rhino, anything like that really that buffs the damage of your weapons. Even Arcane Avenger, stuff like that really helps. Harrow with this thing actually is very, very funny, because you can hit headshots very, very easily, so you can take advantage of Harrow's buff from his 4 really, really well, and, like, it is surprising actually how effective that can be. However, and this is a big however, in the orb fight it is awful. Absolutely horrible. Because the punch through, I don't know whether it's the punch through specifically, but the hitboxes on the spider just don't seem to work with the Fluctus whatsoever. They are very, very dodgy. It's almost like if you hit the wrong part of the spider, you end up doing no damage whatsoever, even though you've got all the punch through in the world. This could have been fantastic. You could have been able to fire through one leg and hit another and do damage to both. But you end up, more often than not, doing any, like, no damage to any of them. You see in the footage in the background, to get any damage done, I have to go sort of, like, in a circle. Like, I have to circle the spider and try and hit the leg dead on. Which is very time-consuming and very annoying, because the spider also goes around in circles. So we're both going around in circles, trying to, like, I'm trying to line up a shot, the spider's trying to avoid getting shot. It's awful. It's so bad. You are better off with literally any other Archwing weapon than this. It is horrendous for the orb fight. Don't use it whatsoever. Maybe you guys have got more of an idea of like how to get it to be more reliable in the orb fight. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. And I hope you've enjoyed this video and the look at the Fluctus. Let me know what your thoughts are, what you think of the Fluctus and how you're using it, whether you're using it, and yeah, just in general, what you think. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I will be back tomorrow with another, and I shall catch you in the next one.